Oh man, we are absolutely so back, folks. Life is so freaking good. It has been treating a lot of people so good this entire month. Shane, of course, this is actually Pride Month. Even though I'm a straight guy, I still get good eats. I met up with a mutual from Twitter and from Discord. The second person I've met, and they're a local mutual. Second person, and it was supposedly somebody that I probably have seen. Chances are they're pretty damn high. I've seen this person before. We went to high school, but our high schools were in the exact same direction. They were almost right next to each other. We both went to school in Astoria. I went to a performing arts high school, and they probably went to a regular school. But even then, it was right next to each other or right across from us. Either way, from what I can remember, it's been 8 years, almost 8 years since I graduated from high school, which is pretty insane. So I had to put that out there. So as a gift, just meeting up the mutual, I got these Jubin stickers. Jubin is an idol from a K-pop group called Triple S. And Jubin is one of the 24 members. She's the 18th member, so her number is 18 in general, or what we like to refer to members whenever we refer to the members, or we like to express some type of description towards them. Sometimes we say Jubin, sometimes we give them nicknames like Jubster, and sometimes we refer to them by their number, just based on how they were, who got next to be introduced. And she was the 18th member introduced to the group. It wasn't all at the same time, by the way. The whole the first 4 members were presented at first, the first 4, and then over time, especially before 2024 hit, it was like 16 members in a group, and then 8 members later on, especially at the end of 2023, moving into the new year 2024. That's when the rest of the 8 members of the whole 24 ensemble got introduced into the group. So I became a big fan of them at the right time. Or you could say I started paying more attention to them. I got introduced to them at the right time, because that's when all the 24 members were starting to get introduced a little bit more. So that's crazy. It's been 2 years since I've been introduced to the group, been a big fan of their music, and been a big fan of their content. So that's crazy. I love this freaking sticker. I have 3 of them, and I don't know where to put them up, because I'm the only person that likes K-pop, for real. But either way, I'm gonna hold off until I settle into my new room at my dad's place, because I've been cleaning. I've been sweeping and dusting off the old room that my stepbrother had, most of his life, or all of his life, and well, actually most of his life, because we didn't live there the entire time. We moved from house to house when it comes to my dad's place in New Jersey. We went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different spots. I'm not even joking, maybe a little bit more. But either way, once now we settle into a place, and my dad hasn't moved in the last 16 or so years. Now I have this room. For the meantime. And I'm very, very glad to start my new journey. Very soon, in the next few weeks, I'm gonna move in with my dad, and I'm not only spend more time with him, but I'm gonna get my life together. And then from there, I'm going to be able to learn to navigate through my life in my own mission and figure things out along the way. And spend a little bit more time with my dad's side of the family. Because one of my biggest regrets, and that's what I was talking about in our 30 minutes to a half hour talking, was One of my biggest regrets is me not spending enough time with my dad. I didn't have enough time and space for me to be able to spend time with him, like quality time with him consistently. Like, I visit him every other week back when I was a child, and then once I got the ultimate choice, when I started to slowly get out of the transition of high school, that's when I started having my own choice of when to visit him or not. However, this is when I started to slowly and steadily started to learn that I really don't spend enough time with him. I really don't get enough leisure, enough space for me and him to spend time with each other. And that's partially one of the main reasons, aside from that space, why I moved in. Is because I want to spend a little bit more time with him. He's not getting any younger. He needs a lot more help now, and I need to start learning some things. I'm not beating myself up for it. I'm gonna be learning. I'm gonna be growing. There's gonna be some growing pains, and there's gonna be times where, hey, I might slip on. I fall short. I might slip up. I might fuck up. But my dad's gonna be always there. My oldest brother is there. He lives like 10 minutes from my dad's house. My half brother lives like a half hour away from my dad's place. My stepbrother now lives like 15 minutes away from my dad from another direction. So in ultimatum, I'm just estimating, I'm just estimating. Actually, my half brother doesn't even really. Actually, my half brother lives like a few blocks away from my stepbrother, so in technicality, they both live like 10-15 minutes away from me, from my dad's place. So I have more access to these people. It's not like I have just one of my older brother, and then I have a bunch of cousins, or I also have cousins over there too. I also have cousins, but I also have my oldest brother, I have my stepbrother, and my half brother. So I have a little bit more access, at least, in New Jersey. And even if New Jersey's not New York, of course, I'm still right by New York. I can take a bus and go to New York at any given time I want. Literally. I don't have to spend that much money on the bus ticket because I'm autistic. So I'm gonna be somebody that goes to New York often, still, on my own, for the most part. Unless my dad wants to come and chill. But either way, I have the reins to my vision of my life. This is my time now. It's because I've been super scared. I've been super complacent. I've been super nervous of making some radical changes to my life that I've gotten sheltered not only to my own comfortability, but I've been controlled and under psychosis, and I've been getting guilt tripped every now and then on, if I leave and do this, that, and the third. And it's not even just the fact that I've been guilt tripped to just staying in, or I've guilt tripped myself to just stay and not go anywhere, not do anything with my life. Because if I do something with my life, or I do something, then they're gonna lose that sense of power, they're gonna lose their sense of control over me, and I've been getting very handicapped by them. And it's not necessarily their fault. I don't really blame them. Dude, the kids, they're intense, they need help, so I need to be home to help them. And look, it's not something extremely sporadic. This is just something that's a part of life sometimes, that I might have to halt my own future, my own self a little bit so I can help out. However, we gotten to the point, we've reached a breaking point, and now my little brothers are becoming teens, and they're becoming permanent teens. So at that point, they need to start walking home together by themselves, especially because my youngest brother is now graduating from middle school next week. So with that being said, he's going to my youngest brother's high school that's right across the street from this park, and they're going to be walking home together. That was my mom said, and I ultimately made the decision that I'm going to be moving with my dad last month. So there is that. Now, we can dive deep into more of the church stuff, because I told him that I have not been going to church. And I have my significant reasons why. And just like my two older brothers, just like my other older brother, they always have my back. And it's not even just because they agree with me, but because they literally understand what is happening. Literally. They get it. It's not just the fact that they agree with me. You know, both of them were like, hey, you should still keep being faithful. Don't lose your faith. I'm not saying that I want to lose my faith. I'm saying that I don't want my faith be determined and dictated by some people that are extremely flawed themselves. That's what I'm sick and tired of. That's one of the main reasons why I left. There's many. I can give you a list of reasons why I left. But one of the main reasons is because they keep playing with me. They keep playing with me, trying to dictate how I should move in my faith. They keep dictating on how I should pray. They keep dictating on how I should have my relationship with God. They keep dictating on how I should navigate through with this world. And like, I've been weighing in if I should even be an atheist, or if I should just be agnostic, or should I know if there's a God or a God. I'm just a little bit stuck, and that's okay. But I know that my own stepdad wanted to guilt trip me and act as if I wanted to leave so I could avoid accountability, I avoid being challenged, and he wants to guilt trip me acting like I didn't want to face certain consequences. And that's pretty damn stupid. I already had a whole rant about it. That really pissed me off, because it's not like I woke up one day and I just wanted to avoid accountability. I literally have to wake up in the morning just to get by. Do we all have to wake up? What? We all have to wake up either way. We all have to get through the day. So if we want to avoid accountability this badly, avoid responsibility, we just keep sleeping. We just keep rotting in bed. But no, most of us are already awake. Most of us got up and we did stuff. Whether we went to work, went to school, did some responsibilities, did some errands, and either way, we're still living life. Even if we outwardly boast and outwardly criticize the system, we outwardly criticize the way of living, and we still get up throughout the day and we still do things. We still eat, we still hydrate, we still take piss, we still take shit, we still take showers, we still brush our teeth, we still floss, we still get our hair done. Whatever the case is, for women, get their nails done, they still get their eyebrows done, their lashes. We still get up to do stuff. So we're not avoiding accountability and necessity. We're avoiding accountability because one of the only survival tactics at that point was just to hide ourselves. Because we've been hardwired and taught that our lives are meaningless. Whether you grew up in church or not, this isn't even just a church thing. This is just a system thing. You know, the system in and of itself wants you to wake up shredding life. It wakes up wanting you to hate life. You're not supposed to wake up excited and looking forward to living. It wants you to be enslaved and compromised and brainwashed to the point where you think this whole life of working 9 to 5 for the next 40 years of your life after you graduate from college because you're forced in social peer pressure to go to college. People think that's normal. But in hindsight, just the way our bodies function, just the way our minds are incorporated, just the way how we eviscerate ourselves within this space of being, even if we didn't ask to be here for the most part, we had to even get into this world. We had to be born into this world, and we didn't even get any significant opportunity to choose our names because, of course, we couldn't speak back then. We couldn't speak until we were 1, 2 years old. Or some people like me, if you're autistic or have some communication issues, then you're gonna be speaking at 5, 6, or 7 years old. I spoke at 7, my first words. But that's the thing, is that we don't get any opportunity to analyze and question things. We are just force-fed and just, here comes the airplane and giving baby food right into our mouths on birth certificates, on social security numbers, names, and certain identification stuff that we did not question or analyze until we gained enough consciousness. You know? It's almost as if this life was not necessarily meant to be yours in that type of sense. where you're in this world, you're able to share your experiences, you're sharing connections in human form with other people. Not even just that. You gotta go beyond the surface. Beyond the surface part, you're supposed to be sharing your world, you're supposed to be sharing your life with these idiots. You're supposed to be sharing your entire being with these idiots. His platform, Elon Musk, this guy is a trillionaire now. This guy has $1 trillion for no reason. Absolutely no reason why he should be having that much money. Absolutely no reason. You know why? America is whitewashed to the core. Religion, in of itself in America, is whitewashed to the core. Dude, please tell me if America isn't that washed, it's not that woke. It's woken. Oh, we reached a state of liberalism. Bro, there would be a gay president right now. There would be more female entrepreneur, independent businessmen, or businesswomen, in fact. There would be more female presidents, vice presidents. There would be more females in office. There would be more rich female millionaires, billionaires. But guess what? That's still not the case. Patriarchy is still in high sight. Dude, men, white men especially, are still upholding the millionaires, billionaires trajectory. They still take over most of the millions and billions of dollars. Oh, but actually, Mr. Shane, Elon Musk has 1% South African descent. Also, he's not white. Also, he's just South African because of 1%. Yo, get out of my face, yo. Yo, 1% South African descent. Oh, now all of a sudden you're South African. You are not South African, buddy. You are fucking white. Maybe you're even freaking Jewish. I don't know. Bro, I don't really decimate myself into thinking that all Jews have everything and stuff, because I don't really know like that. I don't really have much association. Of course, because I'm Hispanic, but I don't live in a general Jewish area, so I can't really say much. Even if there's certain cases where there's a lot of Jewish shareholding within certain regimes, whether it's Disney, whether it's Nickelodeon. Either way, that's still a small margin. I can't really necessarily tell you that they have everything. They have a shareholder value of everything. They have all the money, they have all the power, resources. You can't necessarily say that. You can definitely say that for white people, because they took the land from the Native Americans. They took these indigenous people that found the land in the first place, and they had the white people and Christopher Columbus get all the credit. Oh, but what's being taught in U.S. history? That Christopher Columbus was the one that found the stuff, and we had to celebrate Columbus Day. There was no school on Mondays, usually on the first week of October or the second week. But guess what? They brainwashed you. They trained you so hard to the point where you don't know the actual history behind certain things. You were taught brainwashed, whitewashed, Americanized history. Bro, slavery isn't really what you think it is. You think these people really just wake up and they just work in the field? Dude, there were certain black people, there were especially dark-skinned African Americans, whether in Haiti, in Africa, or in other areas in Africa in general. These dark-skinned people, these Africans, they were up all freaking day because they were getting whipped every other second. They were getting absolutely tortured, absolutely getting the most abomination of treatment. They couldn't even sleep like that because within the moments of them sleeping, they were still getting their asses beat. So they don't even just whitewash the history of just slavery. They did the same exact thing with religion. They made it okay for even some black Christians to just say straight up and talk about slavery in the Bible and how it's okay to have slavery. Interesting. And that was why I was talking about my stepbrother a little bit. It was like everything was just so interesting. And then that's why he was telling me, oh, we don't like church. It's very hypocritical. And, you know, it is. That's the point. The whole point of church is to be hypocritical and to just get away with it. These people are getting away with full hypocrisy. Full hypocrisy. They teach you how to hate certain people. You know that, right? Dude, why would they at any given point just train me that somehow, some way, God hates homosexuals, but God tells me in the same breath that he loves everybody? Dude, how does he love everybody if he hates homosexuals? How does he love everybody but hates black people? How does he love everybody but hates people that are not Christians or people not exactly like him? I don't even think Jesus taught you to hate people in this context. Dude, whenever Jesus is actually expressing certain values, even if you don't fully believe that he's a truly perfect person or a divine spirit, like a perfect divine spirit, dude, Jesus did not teach you to hate homosexuals. Because if that was really the case, then the whole Bible is a walking contradiction, and it already is, by the way. That just goes to show they're brainwashed. That just goes to show these people, they don't know how to think for themselves. They have no critical thinking skills. It's not just critical thinking skills, just comprehension. It is critical thinking skills, just being able to understand human nature and just life in general. Because what do you mean, one of my cousin's churches, they expect you to give in 10% of your salary? That's even worse. Like, these people do not question it. These people still are stuck in this freaking box because they are afraid of hell. And then my stepbrother was giving me advice on just have a relationship with God because you have the relationship. Don't let other people dictate what your relationship with. And literally, I was explaining to him some situations that bothered me over time, and then I started to just lose it. One of the times I brought up, during prayer session, I gotten criticized openly for not having an interesting enough voice, or having a boring voice, or having too much of a deep voice, and not having enough enthusiasm, and thinking and praying for my head. I'm like, bro, people doing, most of the people that are inside there are either doing the exact same thing, or you're just picking and choosing who to target because you know damn well that you are intimidated by me. And I can keep saying this and I can just flex upon you. And especially because I left now, I can tell you straight up that these people are intimidated by me. I do not care what they think of me at this point. These people are intimidated and scared of me because they know damn well, even if some people still have to be reminded that I have autism, even though I've been with them for a year and a half, and they should know that I have autism. They should know that the moment that I start thinking for myself and I start analyzing the room, they are going to be intimidated and scared and confused and dumbfounded like my stepdad was. You trying to guilt trip me because I wanted to leave, that I'm done for good now. Trying to guilt trip me thinking that, so that's just not the way to go, you know, the science actually says that. Bro, if you're over relying on a Bible, I don't think you should be believing in science like that. So why are you using science in this context? Don't bring me no science, because you're going to be agreeing with these same sermons or these same preachers that science is somehow unreal or not real or somehow so subjugated to hypocrisy, when this exact Bible is full of hypocrisy. This is going to be the same church that says we're not a cult, we're not a scam, and this cult is this space is an exact cult and scam. It doesn't have to do anything extravagant for me to notice that, bro. I'm telling you, This is not no rocket science. This is something that you analyze when you sit down and think. This is what you analyze when you actually learn to discern. And most of the time you're discerning, you are recognizing that these people have lost their minds. They have given up their mind to a freaking corporation of religion. The constant, we need to go to every Sunday service. No, we need to go to every single Wednesday midweek. We have to go to almost every single little Bible study, and it's just exhausting. I don't like you guys like that. Y'all don't know me. Y'all are strangers. I have never seen most of you guys before. And I have to act as if you guys are my next door neighbor best friends. No, I have never met you before. I have never talked to you before, but now I have to be your brother and sister in Christ. No, that's not how it works. I am not just going to be your friend just because you're in the same location as me. I have the opportunity, I have the free will to not be your friend. But you want to come up to certain people and say, oh, we're moving in God's love. You're not moving in God's love if you hate homosexuals, buddy. You're not moving in God's love if you hate people that are not Christians or not exactly like you, buddy. You're not moving in no God's love. Stop talking. You're not moving in Jesus' love. Dude, you say be like Jesus, but you're going to be the exact same person that still has to, quote unquote, tolerate people that are not Christians because that's your family. But if you had any opportunity to just let things go, and for the most part, you're going to be saying all of your family that's not Christians going to hell. Bro, just say you hate your family. Just say you hate your family that is not thinking like you or being like you. Oh, but it's just the harsh truth and shit. No. You just said fuck your family. You stab your family in the back. You're a snake. You're a snake. It's that simple. It doesn't matter what type of content you are using in this predestined moment. Well, however that word is sounded out, in this moment, you are stabbing your own family in the back for something that doesn't really exist in reality. We're not talking about God. We're not talking about Jesus Christ at this particular moment. We are talking about the foundation of the tradition. It's not reality, buddy. It is a coping mechanism space for every Sunday service, for every Wednesday midweek. And you guys force yourself to go to spots and places and certain timelines that you don't even want to go to in the first place. Get tired and exhausted. And then the same exact leader is talking about, oh, you can't be sad, you can't be angry. You gotta be able to be happy whenever you get into the space you're with your brothers. No, we're not your brothers. We're with a bunch of freaking strangers. First off, we're with a bunch of strangers that are not even present in our own lives. We're with these people only on Sundays and Wednesdays unless we're in a Bible group talk with them, and even that's transactional. Dude, the only reason why we're even brothers and sisters with them is because we're in the same church. We're Christians. But if we're not Christians and we're not in the same place, at the same time, at the same location, these people would be talking shit about me or talking shit about other people that are not exactly like them. And that's the problem. You start viewing people and you start moving around friendships, relationships like transactions. You don't actually value friendships. You don't actually value the relationships that you have with people. You start viewing them like transactions, like business transactions. You don't view them actually in presence, in actual essence, because in the spiritual, in a communal sense, I'm just saying a bunch of words at this point, even when I'm trying to sound out certain words that are actually present, but I'm sounding like I'm saying two different words. In essence, relationships is not just about you and what caters to you. The relationships and friendships you have sometimes is about how you both navigate through this journey together without constantly feeling as if you guys are not only not bothering each other, but you guys are always together no matter what. Even with the difference of interest, difference of perspective, you guys have the same goal, is to help each other and to help other people. Just get through. This life is hard enough. So now you want to go to a freaking Sunday service every Wednesday midweek and you want to start talking trash about freaking black people? You want to start talking trash about gay people? You want to start talking trash about people that are not like Christian? You want to start talking trash about Catholics to my face, acting like I'm not going to process it and I'm not going to take it with me and I'm not going to use it to have a reason to why I don't want to be around you anymore? Like, I process things differently. And just because I don't say these certain things in the moment, it doesn't mean I don't have it already captivated into my mind. This whole church space is a captivating space. It wants your soul, it wants your spirit, and it wants your mind. Bad. Does this old guy think that I wasn't going to say much, or I wasn't going to tape record what he talked about when he trash talked Catholics because they're not Christian-like and they're fake Christians? You don't think that I was gonna not say something or not grab some type of perspective, and I'm not gonna make it a reason to why I don't want to be around you, or other people won't be around you? Oh, you need to learn to be friendly. You're not friendly. You're not even friendly yourself. Get out of my face with that. For one, don't even bring up no phone numbers, because this is just bigger than phone numbers, bro. You're just an asshole. You're just a dick. Okay? You don't have to be this perfect prophet, this Mahatma Gandhi. You don't have to be this type of person. You don't have to be no Martin Luther King. You don't have to resemble love like them. You can resemble love your own way. You could take certain parts that Gandhi taught you, that Buddhism taught you, that Martin Luther King Jr. taught you. You can talk about Malcolm X taught you. You can talk about how Keanu Reeves taught you. And you can talk about all these certain good people with quotation marks, not because, oh, they're not good people, but because we're using it in the context of love. If you want to, you got to take certain good parts and don't take every part. That's how it works. That's how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to be going to church every single Sunday. You're not supposed to be going to midweek every single Wednesday. You're not supposed to be over-relying on church for you to be able to have morals. Because by that standard, bro, you're just a loser. Dude, you're just a dick. Straight up. You're just a dick person. You're just a person that's a freaking, not a menace, not a menace. You're just a evasive species. You take up too much space and you bring nothing to the table. That's why I resonate a lot more with atheism, but I'm not just gonna be an atheist just because. I want to be able to have a particular reason to why I'm becoming an atheist, so I'm not gonna be an atheist yet. That's why I'm aiming towards Gnosticism or agnosticism, because agnosticism, you just don't, it's not that I don't know, it's more of a, I don't have to know. That's why I could dabble into agnosticism, because agnosticism, I don't have to know if there's more than one God or multiple gods or there's a God of itself. I don't have to know that. For Gnosticism, I can understand that there's a divine spirit, there could be a God, and I can incorporate a lot of what they teach into me, because I am ultimately them in a certain case like this. Bro, in general, we're gods. In general, we're like Jesus. The difference is, some people are just tryhards. They try too hard to be like Jesus. They try too hard to be like God. Kanye West tries too hard to be like Jesus and God. It backfired on him. Big ego, and it's part of against what the Bible says, and you're not supposed to have an ego, but how do you have confidence if you don't really have an ego either? It makes no sense. You need to have some type of pride to have an ego too, by the way. But of course, some people are overly prideful. Bro, America was built on pride. America was built on self-centeredness. That's why sometimes nobody really gives a shit. Sometimes that's why people are numb to some of the news, because it's not that they don't know how to react, They just don't really care like that. Because they're super self-centered. They're only thinking about themselves at this particular moment in time. It's not what you think. And that's why I've been telling my brother for the 30 to an hour conversation I had with him yesterday. After we ate encebollado, which is fish stew. That was really good. After we ate that, we have a conversation in my room, or his old room. Or you could say both. His old room transitioning to my room. It's crazy because I loved church for like the first few months after I got baptized. I loved it. I was very much enjoying it. I was grateful for the opportunity. I'm still grateful for the experience. I'm learning. It's just an ultimatum. I can't rely on this anymore. There's a time and place where I just need to grow out of it. Like, I can't keep going to church. I can't keep over-relying on Christianity to define who I am as a person, define my morals. Because that doesn't define my morals. That doesn't define my morals. Because if it did define my morals, I'm not a good person, bro. I'm a terrible person, in fact. And you should stay as far away from me as possible. Seriously, you should stay away from me if I were to be that deep into the faith. If I was that deep into the faith, again, if I was that deep into the faith, I wouldn't have that many friends, for one, and for two, I still wouldn't have any friends, for one, and for two, I would have never met up with the person to get this Cuban sticker. I would have never met up with them. Never. Never. Not one moment I would think about being a person that has pronouns and they go by they, them. Never. Never. Dude, they're some of the coolest people ever. They gave me a freaking free Cuban sticker. And they took me to the bakery and we got some freaking muffins and croissants. Like, right by his crib. Right around the corner. Bro, these are some of the coolest people on the planet with a bunch of they, them pronouns, and they might be bisexual, they might be gay, they are part of the LGBTQ, they use they, them and stuff. Again, some of those people are some of the coolest people ever. Because they don't let certain things define their identity. They are themselves because they love themselves that much. Even if they don't always express it and they're not always always happy with themselves, but they're real. They're actually themselves. They're not fake like that space always trying to tell me that they like themselves because God created them. Like, no, you don't like yourself. It's okay to say that. Why do you get so scared to say that? And then you wonder why people's, like me, self-esteem declines over time because I'm over-relying on you idiots. Particularly in itself, ruined my life. I'm tired of saying that they partially ruined my life. No, they wholeheartedly just ruined my life. I can say that now. They ruined my life. They ruined the way that I perceive life. They ruined the way that I perceive people. They ruined the way I have ultimately sought people to be. Because if I continue to be a Christian, I'd probably be a raging homophobic Christian with Republican values. I'm be exactly like the general evangelical fundamentalist Christian. If I went that far, but I'm not. The best part about me, unironically, is me having autism. Unironically, the reason why I'm even able to say this straight up is because I have autism. That in of itself is my greatest gift because I can think for myself. Now I can just sit up and tell you, just because I am not fully incorporated into the space, it doesn't mean that I am not, whether or not a Christian, I am not an atheist. Just because I'm not fully in part and I'm just taking little bits and pieces, it doesn't mean that I am a both sides type of person. Bro, literally. Let's go to the bakery, for example. So, you get a donut from the bakery. So just because you don't like, let's say, their mochi donuts, it means that all their food sucks? No, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna try, let's say, the crepe. The crepe is really good? Let me go to the bakery just for the crepe. Not for the donuts, because I don't really like the donuts like that. Oh, so now you just hate the bakery overall because you don't like the freaking donuts? Think for yourself for 5 seconds challenge. Impossible. Pizza. Let's use a pizza example. You don't like pizza that the school offers, but you like the pizza that the local pizza shop, Papa John's is. That means you're not supposed to like pizza anymore because you don't like the school lunch pizza. Oh, the Patrick drooling. Oh, and drool comes out. Like, be more smarter than that. You guys are capable of it. You're not. Because you use nuance as like a threat. You think nuance is some type of threat. You think not thinking in black and white and not having a definitive answer to everything is like a threat. You think it's not okay to not know things. You think it's not okay for you to think a little bit with more nuance and with certain compassionate context. You think it's not okay to do that. Dude, you're not even being a human anymore. You're being a freaking corporate bot to this space. And unironically enough, this is supposed to be the space that you're supposed to be feeling human. But you're not. You're corporate. Dude, why don't you think that you're not corporate if you constantly go to church every single Sunday? You think that's not corporate? Because you don't even give yourself days off. You don't give yourself no breaks. You don't give yourself no mental break. Why can't we take certain breaks mentally? Like, that's illegal. That feels like guilt tripping yourself to, oh, I can't go to church this Sunday because I prioritize my mental health. And dude, that's such nonsense. It's like your brain, that's brainwashing 101, bro. That's corporate 101. That's exactly like how the world treats, dude. Unironically, again, this popped up again. So, isn't this the exact same church that complained about that you shouldn't be worldly, and that within the songs of itself, oh, you should not be a part of the world, you should be thinking about the afterlife. But in of itself, you're unironically doing that. You're thinking a part of the world. You're obsessing over the notion that you shouldn't be a part of the world, but you're in the world right now complaining about it. Knee slapper. Oh, you say don't be a part of the world, don't get attached to the world. But this is the exact same world that you're a part of that defines your identity and tries to make you somebody you're not, but you're gonna be the exact same person that says, oh, God loves you and God shapes you to the person you are, but you don't want to be working all of your life with them. Even though, you know, it's God didn't promise you a great life, but this is the same God that supposedly loves you and will give you promises and stuff. Oh, but he hasn't even given you the promise yet. Bro, what about the dude, how come you don't guys pray for starving kids in Africa? You don't pray for starving kids in the Middle East. You don't pray for some of the kids that don't have an ounce of shelter in Africa. Yeah, but I'm not a part of the world. Is that the only time you use the I'm not a part of the world gimmick? Stop with the gimmicks, okay? You are a part of the world. It's okay to say that. You can admit it. You are attached to this world. It's okay to say that. If you were really not about that life, you'd be gone. You would not be here. You would not be a part of this church. You would be in the forest. You would be a monk. You would transition into a monk, because the whole point of you being not a part of this world and being attached to the world is so that you stop conforming to societal standards. And you're doing exactly that by teaching me certain finance and stuff. You're teaching me about certain intangibles about life, even though you're the same person that tells me, oh, don't be a part of this world. Die. Stupid asses, man. Life is crazy, man. I can't wait to not only get out of this little bubble, but I absolutely cannot wait to just live my next life. Bang.